Alrighty, we are on page 88 of your Roots book. We are doing miss, to send, right? So I thought I'd send you off into space this morning, or afternoon, whenever you're watching this. Alright, to begin with, there's some words here up at the top, so go ahead and take a look at that paragraph at the top. The miss root has to do with sending. A mission is a task that one is sent to do. A missionary is someone sent out to do religious work. A message is a communication sent to someone. And the person who carries the message is a messenger. So any of these words can show up on your Roots quiz. If you look, I believe we have all nouns here. So you might make a note, highlight those really quickly or underline them so you don't forget to study those as well. Alright, our first word is emissary. Emissary is a noun. It is a person sent out on a specific mission. It comes from the roots e meaning out and miss to send. So highlight that root, underline that word in definition. Our sentence. The government sent an emissary to look into the matter. That's actually what our video here is about. It's actually about a country not sending an emissary somewhere.
President Aquino isn't keen on sending a new emissary to Taiwan amid the diplomatic row over the fatal shooting of a Taiwanese fisherman near Batanes.
So she's talking here about kind of a national tragedy and how one country doesn't really want to send someone, maybe even though they should, right? All right. Here we go. Next we have intermittent. Intermittent. It's an adjective stopping and starting at intervals. It comes from the roots inter meaning between and mit meaning to send. Go ahead and highlight that root, underline that meaning. The intermittent rain didn't prevent them from enjoying the game. We always hope that if it rains on a ropes course day, it will be intermittent light rain so that it doesn't keep us from going up to the hill. Or the other example I was trying to think of was like a phone. If you've ever been on the phone and it's cutting in and out, that's intermittent. You're only getting intermittent parts of your conversation. I notice it's an adjective, so it always describes a noun, right? Intermittent rain, intermittent sound, things like that. Missive. Missive is a noun. It means letter or message that is sent. It doesn't have any other roots in it, so be aware of that. But you can see here we've got like our envelope and our letter. There's the missive. A missive from the president directed their next move. So the president sent a message, and that was what decided what was going to happen. Omit. Omit is a verb. It means to leave out. It comes from the roots ob meaning away and mit meaning to send. So quite literally means to send away. But we really just mean like to kind of skip over something or censor something, right? So you might omit a word by accident. Just forget to write it. You might omit a word from what you're saying, or you might omit information, maybe to keep yourself from getting in trouble. None of you would ever do that, I know. Or you might omit something to keep from hurting someone's feelings, right? You might skip over something just because you want to make sure they don't get their feelings hurt. And it's kind of like censoring is a really negative kind of omitting. When we censor things, a lot of the time it's not seen in a good light. But it can be, omit isn't necessarily negative like that. You could omit something for a good reason. All right, premise. Premise is from the roots pre meaning before and miss meaning to send, so literally something sent before. But let's look at the definition we use these days. It's a noun meaning an initial statement that is assumed to be true and upon which an argument is based. And it has the roots pre meaning before in it and miss to send, so make sure you get that new root in there. And let's take a quick look at a movie. I'm going to kind of skip it ahead, so. I know you guys enjoyed these kind of sketch films from before, so we're going to look at one of those.
Hi, I'm Kelly Schiffman. I'm a PhD student at Yale University, and today I'd like to talk about suppressed premises. So very often when we present an argument for a conclusion, we don't explicitly state all the premises required for getting to the conclusion. Consider this example. Premise 1. Mike is a Canadian. Conclusion? Mike must be polite. To get from the premise that Mike is a Canadian to the conclusion that Mike is polite, we need a second premise, saying that all Canadians are polite. Only then is this argument strictly valid. Only then does the conclusion follow from the premises. Now, premise 2 here.
All right, so she's actually going to talk a lot about things way more complicated than what we're talking about. For us, premise, right, is just that basic idea that it's an argument. So she drew Mike the cat. Her premise is Mike is a Canadian, and her conclusion from that premise is that Mike is polite, which means that she has the second premise here. She's assuming, right, she's arguing that all Canadians are polite by saying that. So a premise is just, it's kind of like your thesis statement, right? It's what you're going to base your argument on. It's the jumping off point, okay? I really like this sentence. His argument failed because he started with a false premise. So in truth, here her premise is false. Mike may be a Canadian. Mike probably isn't very polite because Mike's a cat. So Mike doesn't necessarily, you know, have a lot of manners. Probably spends a lot of time sunning himself and such. So have that in mind. Premises are not always true, right? All right, remiss. From the roots re meaning back and miss meaning to send, it's an adjective. It means negligent or lax in attending to duty. So I can be remiss. Let's look at the sentence first. I've been remiss about doing my exercises. Sometimes Miss Naylor is remiss about getting to carpool duty on time when she has it because she forgets. So I had to put an alarm in my phone so that I would not be negligent like that. All right, remission. From the roots re meaning back and miss meaning to send, so ascending back. We use it to mean a lessening, like when a disease or goes into remission, like if someone has cancer and all the cancer's gone, they're in remission, right? Or to mean forgiveness, like a remission of sins. It is a noun, make a note of that, point that out to yourself. And then last but not least, transmit. From the verb, it is a verb meaning to send from one place or person to another. And that across is in there because you're like sending it across something. That's what trans means. Like a transatlantic trip would be across the Atlantic, right? So let's check out some transmitting. All right, we skipped ahead a little bit.
Rhythm is indeed the key to good sending. If your code is to mean anything to others in the radio net, then you've got to send rhythmically. Dits must be uniform and short. Das, uniform and long. Spacing,
All right, so he goes on for a while like this. This is actually a training video for people who are going to transmit messages via Morse code. So they were going to send messages that way. Very exciting stuff, right? All right, so that is miss to send. Please get your exercises done, and I will see you soon.